Don't overlook your dimes. Roosevelt dimes made before 1965 are 90% silver, and some dates and mint marks can be worth hundreds. That dime in your pocket could be far more than just 10 cents. The 1975 United States Roosevelt one-dime coin is one of those pieces that millions of people may have handled in their daily lives. Yet for coin collectors and enthusiasts, it represents far more than just 10 cents. At first glance, it seems like an ordinary small silver-colored coin that rattles around in change jars, vending machines, and parking meters. But when you take a closer look at its history, its design, the time period in which it was minted, and the rare errors and high-grade examples that have surfaced at auction, the 1975 Roosevelt dime becomes a fascinating chapter in American coinage. By 1975, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for nearly 30 years. Introduced in 1946 after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the coin was designed to honor a leader who not only guided the country through World War II but also had a deep connection to the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio. His profile became the permanent fixture on the obverse, designed by chief engraver John R. Sinek. The portrait is left-facing, with Liberty inscribed along the rim. In God We Trust positioned below, and the date clearly visible. Sinek's initials, JS, appear at the base of Roosevelt's neck. On the reverse side of the coin is the well-known design, a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace on the left and an oak branch representing strength and independence on the right, with United States of America, E pluribus unum, and one dime, completing the design around the edge. By 1975, the dime was no longer made of silver. In 1965, the mint had eliminated silver from dimes and quarters due to rising silver prices and the risk of coin hoarding. Instead, the dime was now a clad coin with a pure copper core and outer layers of copper nickel. While it retained its familiar silver-like appearance, the intrinsic metal value was far less than 10 cents, allowing the mint to continue production without worrying about people melting down coins for profit. The year 1975 is also historically significant in U.S. coinage because it came just before the country's bicentennial celebration. For 1976, the U.S. Mint struck special dual-dated 1776 to 1976 quarters, half dollars, and dollars featuring commemorative designs. As a result, there were number 1975 dated quarters, halves, or dollars minted. Only cents, nickels, and dimes carried the 1975 date. This makes the dime one of the last regular-issue coins minted before the grand bicentennial redesigns, a small but interesting detail that adds to its story. When it comes to the 1975 dime, the majority of coins you find in circulation today are worth only face value. Billions were minted across Philadelphia and Denver, and they were intended for everyday use. However, as with all coins, condition and errors make all the difference. Collectors who focus on Roosevelt dimes often seek out pristine, uncirculated examples, especially those with sharp strikes. The most coveted designation for these coins is known as full torch, FT, or full bands in older terminology, which refers to the clarity of the horizontal lines across the torch on the reverse. A dime with a fully struck, sharp reverse is far more valuable than one with a weak strike. High-grade 1975 Roosevelt dimes with full torch designations can fetch strong prices at auction. While circulated examples are only worth 10 cents, coins graded MS67 FT or higher are rare and highly sought after. For example, auction results have shown MS67 FT coins selling in the range of $300 to $500, and MS68 FT examples can reach into the thousands, depending on eye appeal and collector demand. Considering that most of these coins were tossed into circulation and rattled around in pockets, finding such pristine survivors is incredibly difficult, which is why they command these strong prices. Beyond condition rarity, the true treasures of the 1975 Roosevelt dime are the error coins. Minting errors always generate excitement in the collector community because they transform an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. For instance, off-center strikes are among the most dramatic errors found in 1975 dimes. In these cases, the blank planchet was not properly aligned in the coining press, resulting in part of the design being shifted and part of the blank remaining visible. A 1975 dime with a bold off-center strike, especially if the date is still visible, can sell for anywhere between $150 and $400 depending on the severity and grade. Another type of error is the broad strike, which occurs when the retaining collar that keeps the coin in shape is missing during striking. These errors result in a coin that spreads out larger than normal, often with distorted edges. A 1975 dime with a broad strike error in mint state condition can be valued between $75 and $200. Clipped planchets are also found on some 1975 dimes. These errors occur when the coin blank was improperly cut from the sheet of metal, leaving a curved or straight clip on the finished coin. These are visually obvious and popular with collectors, with values ranging from $50 to $150 depending on the size and number of clips. Double strikes are a rare and spectacular error type where the coin receives more than one impression from the dies, leaving overlapping images. A dramatic double-struck 1975 dime could bring several $100s or more at auction, with prices varying depending on how strong and clear the doubling is. And then there are the dream errors, wrong planchet or transitional planchet errors. These occur when a dime was struck on a blank intended for another denomination or even a foreign coin. While rare, they are not impossible. A 1975 dime struck on a cent planchet, for instance, would appear smaller and copper-colored, and could easily bring thousands of dollars if authenticated. Wrong planchet errors from other years have fetched impressive prices at major auctions, with some even surpassing $10,000. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1975 dime series is the proof coins. These were struck at the San Francisco Mint and intended for collectors. However, proof coins of this year were not given mint marks, which means they carry no S. That makes them visually identical to Philadelphia issues. While most proof coins are worth only a modest premium, collectors prize high-grade deep cameo examples, and rare error proofs can be worth thousands. In fact, one of the most famous modern coin rarities involves a proof dime from 1975. A small number of 1,975 proof dimes were struck without the S mint mark from San Francisco. These no-S proof dimes are incredibly rare and have sold for staggering prices at auction. One example sold for more than $300,000, making it one of the most valuable modern U.S. coins in existence. This discovery turned the 1975 dime into a coin of legend, proving that even in modern coinage, extraordinary rarities still exist. For everyday collectors, however, the joy of the 1975 dime is not just in finding an ultra-rare no-S proof but also in searching for pristine circulation strikes or exciting errors. Every dime offers the possibility of discovery, whether it's a subtle doubling, a clipped planchet, or a perfectly struck torch that places it among the finest known. What makes the 1975 Roosevelt dime truly captivating is the combination of history, accessibility, and the potential for hidden value. Millions of people carry dimes in their pockets without giving them a second thought, yet hidden among them could be a coin worth hundreds, thousands, or in the case of the no-S proof, hundreds of thousands. That's the thrill of coin collecting, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, and knowing that every small coin tells a much larger story. The 1975 dime bridges two important eras in U.S. coinage: the long run of Roosevelt dimes that began in 1946 and the bicentennial celebration that reshaped American coin designs in 1976. It's a coin tied to both everyday life and to once-in-a-lifetime rarities. Whether you're holding a worn dime from your pocket change, a gleaming MS-68 full torch example, or dreaming of the legendary no-S proof, the 1975 Roosevelt dime reminds us why collectors never stop searching. So the next time you come across a dime from 1975, take a closer look. Examine the torch bands, study the strike, and check for anything unusual. Because while most will only ever be worth 10 cents, some have already proven themselves capable of commanding hundreds, thousands, and in extraordinary cases, even hundreds of thousands at auction. That's the magic of coin collecting. The idea that treasure hides in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by the sharp eye and curious mind. The 1996 United States Roosevelt dime might seem like just another ordinary piece of pocket change, but when we look closely, it tells a story of history, minting practices, collector intrigue, and even the hidden potential for surprising value. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, and by 1996 it had already been serving Americans for half a century. But the 1996 dime was not just any year's issue. It carried significance both in its regular minting and in a special anniversary release that continues to spark collector interest today. First, let's take a step back. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the year before. His likeness was chosen because of his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his connection to the March of Dimes, an organization dedicated to fighting polio. John R. Cynic designed the dime, giving us the familiar left-facing portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse, with the word Liberty, the motto In God We Trust, the date and Cynic's initials JS. On the reverse is the iconic design of a torch, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, with United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and one dime encircling ITBY 1996. The dime was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, with a pure copper core and an outer layer of copper-nickel that gave it a silver-like appearance. This clad composition had been used since 1965, when rising silver prices forced the U.S. Mint to eliminate silver from dimes and quarters. For 1996, the Philadelphia Denver, and San Francisco mints all produce dimes, with the P, D, and S mint marks indicating their origin. What makes 1996 so special is the release of the 1996 W. Roosevelt dime. This was a one-year-only issue from the West Point Mint, struck to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt dime. The mint included the special dime only in the 1996 uncirculated coin sets, and it marked the very first appearance of a W mint mark on a dime. No 1996 W dimes were released into circulation, which means collectors had to purchase the mint sets if they wanted the coin. Today, the 1996 W dime is one of the most desirable modern issues, with values ranging from around $15 to $30 in uncirculated condition, and much higher for coins in pristine, high-grade examples with a perfect strike. But the regular 1996 dimes, especially those with errors or in exceptional condition, also have collector appeal. Millions of 1996 dimes were struck, so circulated examples are only worth face value. However, when you get into high-grade uncirculated coins, especially those with the coveted full torch FT designation, values can jump significantly. The full torch designation, sometimes called full bands, means that the horizontal lines on the torch on the reverse are fully separated and distinct, showing an unusually sharp strike. Collectors prize these coins because finding such precision from the mid-1990s mintages is not easy. Auction records show that top-graded 1996 Roosevelt dimes can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For example, a 1996 P Roosevelt dime graded MS68 with full torch by PCGS has sold at auction for over $1,500. Similarly, a 1996 D dime in MS68 FT has commanded prices in the $1,000 range. Even though most 1996 dimes are common, the finest examples draw fierce competition from collectors assembling top-quality registry sets. Errors from 1996 dimes also tell fascinating stories and can add substantial value. Off-center strikes are one of the more dramatic errors, where part of the design is missing because the planchet wasn't properly aligned during striking. A 1996 dime struck 50% off-center with a full visible date could easily bring $150 to $400, depending on condition. Broad strike errors, in which the coin spreads wider because it was struck without the collar, are also collectible and may bring $75 to $200. Clipped planchet errors are another possibility. When the blanking punch overlaps an existing hole in the metal strip, the result is a coin with a visible clip missing along the rim. A clean clipped planchet error from 1996 might sell for $50 to $150. Double strike errors, where the coin was struck twice with visible overlapping designs, are rarer but much more valuable, often bringing hundreds of dollars at auction point. One of the most spectacular types of error is a wrong planchet strike, where a dime is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a cent or even a foreign coin. These are extremely rare, but when they surface, they command prices well into the thousands. Although not every year produces famous examples, error specialists always keep an eye out for transitional and wrong planchet dimes because they represent true minting anomalies. In circulated condition, 1996 dimes are usually only worth their face value. But once you cross into high grades and errors, the story changes dramatically. For collectors, the thrill is in the hunt, finding that perfectly struck coin with sharp details or spotting a striking mint error that sets it apart from the billions of normal examples. Of course, the 1996 W dime remains the star of the year. Its inclusion in mint sets ensured that it was preserved in uncirculated condition, and its limited mintage makes it highly collectible. With millions produced, it isn't exactly rare, but its significance as the first W mint dime and its status as a one-year-only issue means it will always be in demand. Collectors who want a complete Roosevelt dime set cannot ignore this coin, making it an essential piece. The importance of the 1996 dime, both regular issues and the 1996 W, lies in its reminder that even in modern coinage, history and value can hide in plain sight. For the average person, a 1996 dime might mean nothing more than 10 cents of purchasing power. But for a collector, it represents the 50th anniversary of a beloved coin series, a chance to own a unique mint mark issue, and the possibility of discovering a rare gem in the form of a high-grade or error coined at AT auction. The difference between an ordinary 1996 dime and an extraordinary one has already been proven. While circulated examples sit unnoticed in jars and cash registers, top-graded MS68 full torch coins and special errors have crossed the auction block for hundreds and even over $1,000. It's a powerful reminder that treasure can still be found in the most unexpected places. So the next time you come across a 1996 Roosevelt dime, don't dismiss it as just another piece of change. Look closely at the torch. Are the bands complete and sharp? Examine the coin for unusual shapes, missing metal, or double impressions. If you're lucky enough to have a 1996 W dime, recognize that you hold a special piece of U.S. coinage history in your hands. Whether common or rare, ordinary or error, the 1996 dime proves once again that every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth far more than 10 cents. The 1980 United States Roosevelt one-dime coin is one of those pieces of American change that most people handle without a second thought. But for coin collectors and enthusiasts, it carries an intriguing story of its own. At first glance, it seems like just another dime from the late 20th century, struck in copper-nickel-clad composition like countless others. But as with many coins from this era, subtle details, rare high-grade survivors, and unusual errors have elevated the 1980 Roosevelt dime from an ordinary pocket coin into something much more exciting when viewed through the lens of numismatic history. The Roosevelt dime series began in 1946, replacing the Mercury dime and honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the year before. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin's obverse displays Roosevelt's left-facing portrait with the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, the date, and Sinek's initials JS. The reverse design, which has remained largely unchanged for decades, features a torch in the center to symbolize liberty, flanked by an olive branch of peace on the left and an oak branch of strength on the right, surrounded by United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and one dime BY 1980. The Mint was producing billions of Roosevelt dimes annually at multiple facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. This year marked a particularly important transition because for the first time in modern history, the Philadelphia Mint began using a P mint mark on its coins. Before 1980, dimes struck at Philadelphia carried no mint mark at all, while Denver coins were marked with a D and San Francisco proof coins with an S. The decision to add the P mint mark made 1980 a landmark year for collectors, and coins from this year have been studied closely ever since. The standard 1980 Roosevelt dime was made with a clad composition, consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of copper nickel. This gave the coin its familiar silver-like appearance but ensured it contained no actual silver, a change that had been introduced in 1965 when the Mint eliminated silver from circulating dimes and quarters due to rising bullion prices. Most 1980 Roosevelt dimes in circulation today are only worth face value. They were struck in the billions, and worn examples are extremely common. However, as with any coin series, the real value lies in coins that survive in pristine condition or exhibit unique mint errors. Collectors place great importance on grading, and for Roosevelt dimes the full torch designation is especially coveted. Also referred to as full bands or FT, this designation means the horizontal bands across the torch on the reverse are fully separated and sharply struck. A 1980 Roosevelt dime with the full torch designation in a high grade can be worth far more than an ordinary example. Coins graded MS67 FT or higher are rare and highly desirable. Auction records highlight this. While most 1980 Roosevelt dimes in average mint state condition are valued at only a few dollars, top-graded coins with full torch can sell for hundreds, sometimes pushing into the four-figure range. For instance, a 1980p Roosevelt dime graded MS68 FT by PCGS once sold at auction for over $1,500, proving that even modern clad dimes can command serious attention when the quality is exceptional. Error coins from 1980 also bring excitement to the market. With billions of coins struck that year, mistakes inevitably occurred, and these mint errors are now prized collectibles. Off-center strikes are among the most dramatic. A dime struck significantly off-center, particularly one that still shows a clear date and mint mark, can sell for $100 to $300 depending on the degree of the error. Broad strikes are another error type collectors love. These occur when the coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally holds the planchet in place, causing the coin to spread out wider than normal. A 1980 Roosevelt dime broad strike in mint state condition could easily fetch $75 to $200. Clipped planchet errors are also collectible. These occur when a blank metal disc is punched from a strip of metal in the wrong position, leaving a crescent-shaped or straight-edged clip on the finished coin. A well-defined clipped planchet dime from 1980 can bring $50 to $150, while dramatic multiple clips can sell for more. Double strikes and multiple strike errors are rarer but especially sought after. A dime from 1980 showing two clear strikes with misaligned or overlapping designs is a dramatic piece that can command prices ranging from several $100s up into the thousands. Depending on the severity of the error point, one of the most valuable categories of errors is wrong planchet strikes. If a 1980 Roosevelt dime was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, such as a cent, a foreign coin, or even a quarter fragment, it would be a numismatic treasure. Wrong planchet errors from other years have sold for thousands, and a confirmed 1980 dime error of this type would likely bring similar results at auction. Condition remains the single most important factor when it comes to value. Out of the billions minted in 1980, very few coins survive in perfect mint state grades. Finding a coin graded MS68, especially with full torch, is extremely challenging. That's why registry set collectors, who strive to assemble the best possible sets of coins, are willing to pay big money when such coins appear on the Markete. Put this into perspective. While most circulated 1980 Roosevelt dimes remain worth only 10 cents, a high-end example can leap into the hundreds or thousands at auction. That spread in value is what makes coin collecting so exciting. It means that hidden treasure may still be sitting in pocket change, old coin jars, or family collections. The 1980 Roosevelt dime is also a reminder of the larger historical context of the time. America in the early 1980s was experiencing economic challenges, high inflation, and shifting political currents. Yet through all of this, the dime remained a steady and reliable part of everyday life, quietly carrying Roosevelt's legacy in commerce, vending machines, parking meters, and payphones. For collectors today, the 1980 dime represents both a milestone and an opportunity. It is the first Philadelphia dime to bear the P mint mark, a detail that makes it historically important even if most people overlook it. And it is a coin that rewards careful searching, whether in rolls from the bank, in inherited collections, or in coin shops. Imagine stumbling upon a flawless 1980p dime with blazing luster and sharp torch bands, sending it off to be graded, and discovering it earns an MS68 FT grade. Suddenly, a coin that most would dismiss as spare change could bring $1,000 or more at auction. That kind of discovery is the dream of many collectors, and it's what keeps the Roosevelt dime series exciting even decades after its introduction. The 1980 Roosevelt dime is proof that every coin has a story worth telling. Some of those stories are about history and design, some are about errors and accidents, and some are about condition and survival against the odds. What ties them all together is the thrill of discovery, the idea that in the most ordinary places, extraordinary treasures can still be found. So the next time you handle a 1980 dime, take a moment to look closely. Check for the mint mark, study the torch bands, and keep an eye out for anything unusual in its shape, strike, or design. Because while billions were minted, only a few stand out as rare, valuable, and worthy of attention. And for those lucky enough to find one, the 1980 Roosevelt dime is not just 10 cents. It's a small piece of history with the potential to be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in the right circumstances. The 2001 United States Roosevelt one-dime coin is one of those pieces that most Americans have handled countless times without giving it much thought. At face value, it's just a simple 10-cent piece, small, silver-colored, and usually tucked away in change jars or passed across counters without a second glance. But for coin collectors and enthusiasts, even a modern dime like the 2001 issue has layers of history, intrigue, and sometimes serious value, especially when mint errors or pristine condition examples are involved. The Roosevelt dime itself has been part of American coinage since 1946, when it was first introduced to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt was a towering figure in U.S. history, guiding the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II, but he was also personally connected to the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio, which made his portrait on the dime particularly meaningful. John R. Cynic designed the coin, giving us the left-facing profile of Roosevelt on the obverse with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, the year of issue, and Cynic's initials JS. The reverse design features a torch at the center, representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength and independence. Around the edge are the words United States of America, E pluribus unum, and the denomination 1 dime. By 2001, the Roosevelt dime had been in circulation for more than 5 decades. The silver versions had long since disappeared, replaced in 1965 with the copper-nickel-clad composition that most Americans know today. An inner core of copper sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel alloy, giving the coin its silvery appearance. Although the design remained consistent, the interest for collectors lay in condition, mint marks, and the always fascinating world of mint errors. The 2001 dime was struck at several U.S. mint facilities. Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, the latter producing proof coins for collectors. Billions of these dimes were minted, making them common in circulation. At face value, they are worth only 10 cents. But when you dig deeper, certain coins stand out as truly collectible. One of the most significant factors in a coin's value is condition. Collectors seek out mint state MS, examples that are sharply struck, with brilliant luster and no signs of wear. Within that category, the most prized coins are those that earn the full torch FT designation, sometimes called full bands, from grading services like PCGS and NGC. This means that the horizontal lines across the torch on the reverse are fully visible and distinct, indicating a sharp, well-executed strike. High-grade 2001 dimes with full torch designations have brought surprisingly strong prices at auction. For example, a 2001 P. Roosevelt dime graded MS-68 with full torch has sold for several $100s, and competition among registry set collectors, who aim to build the finest possible set of Roosevelt dimes, can push prices even higher. The same goes for the 2001 D issue, where an MS-68 FT dime can sell for $500 or more depending on eye appeal and the intensity of the bidding. Proof coins from San Francisco also carry value in the highest grades. A deep cameo proof, PR70 DCAM, is worth much more than an average proof, with some pieces bringing strong premiums because of their flawless surfaces and mirror-like fields. But perhaps the most engaging aspect of the 2001 dime for casual collectors and treasure hunters is the realm of mint errors. These are the coins that break the mold, literally, and offer something unique that catches the eye. Error coins from 2001 range from minor anomalies to spectacular mistakes, and the most dramatic examples have sold at auctions for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One of the more dramatic types of errors is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be struck off-center. A 2001 dime with a dramatic off-center strike, especially if the date is still fully visible, can fetch anywhere from $100 to $400 depending on the percentage of the off-center strike and the coin's condition. Broad strike errors are another popular variety. In these cases, the retaining collar fails during striking, allowing the coin to expand beyond its normal boundaries. The result is a dime that looks slightly larger and flatter, with a distorted rim. Collectors love these unusual pieces, and a high-grade 2001 broad strike dime can easily bring $75 to $150 at auction. Clipped planchets are another eye-catching error. This happens when the blanking machine cuts overlapping planchets from the metal strip, leaving a curved or straight clip on the edge of the coin. A clipped 2001 dime, especially if the clip is dramatic, can sell for $50 to $200 depending on the size and visibility of the error. Double strike errors, where the coin is struck more than once and shows two overlapping designs, are especially prized. A 2001 Roosevelt dime with a bold double strike could be worth several $100s or more, depending on the severity of the error. There are also wrong planchet errors, which are extremely rare but highly valuable. These occur when a dime design is accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination or even a foreign coin. A 2001 dime struck on a cent planchet, for example, would appear copper-colored and smaller in size, making it instantly recognizable. Coins like this have sold for thousands of dollars at major auctions, because they combine rarity with dramatic visual appeal. Beyond errors, condition remains king in determining a coin's value. For instance, while a 2001 dime in circulated condition is worth face value, a coin in MS-67 or MS-68 with full torch designation can command hundreds of dollars. The very finest known examples, especially those that stand at the top of population reports from grading companies, can even break into four-figure territory. Collectors chasing registry sets will pay handsomely for that one coin that gives them the edge. Auction records show just how high these values can climb. One 2001 P dime in MS-68 FT sold for more than $800, while some 2001 D examples in the same grade have crossed the $1,000 mark. Proof examples in PR70 DCAM have also sold for hundreds, reflecting the demand for perfection in modern coin collecting. The real magic of the 2001 Roosevelt dime, however, is that it's a coin people still encounter in circulation every single day. Unlike rarities from the 19th century, this is a coin that could turn up in your pocket change, at the bottom of a coin jar, or in a bankroll. The thought that one of these ordinary-looking dimes could actually be a rare high-grade example or a valuable error is what makes collecting so exciting. It reminds us that treasure doesn't always come in the form of gold or ancient artifacts. It can be hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. The 2001 dime also carries with it a sense of continuity. For more than 50 years, the Roosevelt dime design had remained unchanged, enduring as a small but constant piece of American life. From the days of post-World War II optimism through the dawn of the new millennium, this dime has circulated through countless hands, quietly telling the story of American persistence and progress. So while most people overlook the 2001 Roosevelt dime, collectors know better. They know that within this sea of billions of coins, there are gems, whether it's a flawless MS-68 FT, a dramatic off-center strike, or a once-in-a-lifetime wrong planchet error, that can command serious money at auction. And that possibility is what keeps the hunt alive. The next time you spot a dime in your pocket, especially one from 2001, take a closer look. Check the strike quality, inspect the torch bands, and scan the coin for anything unusual. You might just be holding on to something worth far more than 10 cents. After all, The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the 2001 Roosevelt dime is a perfect example of how even the most ordinary coin can hide extraordinary value.